All right, I'm going to show you in Photoshop. So if you get your Photoshop program up and running, um, how to work on assignment number 5, image quality. I'm not going to use the pictures that you need for the assignment. This is just kind of a how-to, so you can follow along with the pictures from our practice folder that we open up and practice different things with. So if you would open up from your practice folder a full picture called Bright. It is number 8 in the list. And again, when you're doing this tutorial, you can you can follow along by opening the file up and pausing the video um, whenever you need to, and then play it again to kind of keep caught up. So we're going to select the number 8 file, Bright, and it should look like some flowers on the table. So when we talk about image quality, we're just trying to talk about enhancing the picture's brightness, the color of objects, to make your picture better quality overall. And there are a variety of ways to do that. And I'm just going to show you 3, and you're free to explore some of the other options that I show you. So if you come up here to the image menu and come to adjustment, these are all different things you can do to adjust your picture. Some of them may not work for the types of pictures we have, but you are free to try them. Like, I'm pretty sure the black and white will work. I'm not going to show you how to use it. I want you to come up here to this one called brightness and contrast, and you're going to see this little box appear like this. You can move this box obviously anywhere you want. If you take this little lever, it's pretty intuitive how you do it. You drag it to the right, and the brightness of the picture increases or the brightness decreases. 0 is where the normal is. And you can type in numbers to get them back to 0. And then the contrast is what increases or decreases the the image with the contrast. And contrast is the difference between, the darkest objects and the lightest objects in your picture. So it either decreases that contrast or it increases the contrast. Darks get darker, lights get lighter, and that's what you have. And you can adjust this to anything that you want that you feel would enhance your picture. Just a word of caution: when you actually do this in your assignment, make sure that it is captain obvious that you have made a change. Um, if I put all the levers back at 0, this is what I mean by it has to be obvious, and then I take and move this contrast lever to 30, you might be going, yep, that's it. I moved it. I made a difference. But if you take this check mark off a preview and then you put it back on, there's hardly any change to that picture. So for the assignment, you definitely need to make it like captain obvious. There is a huge difference there's a huge difference. Once you get it set the way that you want it, you simply click OK and then continue to follow the directions in the project in terms of what to do. Another thing you can actually do when you open it up is just do auto, and then the Photoshop program will automatically correct any brightness or contrast they think it should be. And they went to a 28 and an 8 for the numbers. They think that's a better place for contrast. Again, but for our sake, that is not enough difference in your photo. Okay. So I'm going to cancel this, and then we're going to work on the next type of adjusting the image quality. And that is back under the image menu under adjustments. We're going to go to the one called adjust the color vibrance right here, vibrance. Okay. And vibrance is affects the intensity of colors. So you got some pretty deep colors in here, got some pretty light colors in here. And so vibrance affects the intensity of the colors. Um, Vibrance is works really, really well with muted colors, things that aren't so bright to begin with. So if you just kind of play around with the vibrance that you see here and you drag that all the way to the right, you should be able to see some of the colors intensify. Anything that was a muted color will either intensify or not intensify based on where you change this. Okay, so if I bring this all the way to the right, some of those orangish, yellowish things really, really got a little bit more intense in terms of their color. Okay. The other level thing here that is on here is the saturation. This will increase the color intensity of all colors in an image. Remember, vibrance is kind of more of the muted colors that it affects. Saturation kind of just starts to remove the color. You have less saturation of that color. In fact, you kind of get it to be a black and white photo. And if you drag it all the way to the right, you get a lot more. I mean, reds become really every color starts to be adjusted. And again, taking the preview check mark off, you can actually see that. So remember, this vibrance works really well in muted colors. If you don't have any muted colors, it probably won't work very well. Okay, because if you look at the background right here where it's all black and you look at their shirt and stuff like that, I changed this. There's not much change going on there. That's because those colors are pretty muted. Okay, so you got to just kind of understand the difference between those two. And again, when you do it in your project, make sure it's Captain Obvious. All right, let's cancel out of that one and let's look at one more. And like I said, I'm just showing you some of these. And again, some of these like levels, some of them aren't going to really work with what we want, but you are free to try them and become curious, which is a good thing to do. Let's look at hue and saturation. Hue changes the colors in an image. And again, you just use the slider, see that? Putting a lot of blue and stuff and sliding it the other way makes it look like that. Again, you can put it somewhere and take the preview off, turn it on and make it Captain Obvious. I'm going to slide that one back. We've already talked about saturation, which just the colors become more red, more yellow. Every color is adjusted. So there's another place to do saturation. And then the lightness is a little bit like that brightness and contrast thing a little bit. So this is kind of a place where you can come to do more than one thing. But one of the cool things about coming to the hue saturation command is it up here where it says master, you can pick a color from the list. So I see lots of greens in here, obviously with the plants. So I'm going to pick greens for my color. Now, if I adjust this, then I'm really changing just the green stuff in my photo. See, if you look at that back area there, the green stuff changes. The saturation of the green changes without changing any of the other colors. If I change this to the blues and I changed that saturation, anything that was blue. Ooh, and you can see it right here. If you look right here, there's a little bit of blue. So if I drag the lever to the right, that blue becomes more intense. In the blue in their shirt becomes more intense. That's because I picked blue as my special category. If you choose master, then it affects all of the colors that you see there. And again, use your preview button to make sure you make a very obvious change to what is actually going on. If you get into it, you can move sliders and stuff like that at the bottom. All right. So that is how you will navigate your way through assignment 5. So read the directions carefully as you are not using flower pictures to complete assignment 5.